Hello everyone, I'm Claire, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about nail polish finishes that I would like to see a full collection of. I got this idea from Ashley/PolishedMess, who has a video here on YouTube called Polishes I Want in a Rainbow Collection, where she goes through a few polishes she really likes and talks about how she would love to see a full rainbow collection in that finish. So that video will be linked down below for you to watch after this one. For my video, I'm not necessarily saying that I want a full rainbow for each polish that I talk about. Maybe I want them in a fall palette or following a certain theme. But it's basically the same idea, just saying, I like this polish, more please. So let's get into it. I'm going to start with the finish/polishes that I mentioned in a comment on Ashley's video, and that finish is a jelly base with iridescent flakes and reflective glitter. Now this finish doesn't always look the same, different brands do it differently. Mooncat's Velociraptor is one I enjoy, and Holo Taco did a collection that featured really big iridescent flakes and kind of sparse reflective glitter. But my favorite version of this finish is from Lurid Lacquer, and I actually have a couple of polishes that I can show as examples. One is, you're literally the worst person ever, but you're hot, so... And it's a hot pink with orange to yellow flakes and pink reflective glitter. And the other is a polish that I originally got as a mystery prototype, but it's now available under the name An Indoor Cat with Outdoor Dreams. It has a pale bright green base, orange to yellow flakes, and chartreuse reflective glitter. And the reason I like these so much is that they're really packed with the reflective glitter, and the flakes are on the smaller side, so they just have a really nice sparkle. I'm sure Lurid Lacquer has done other polishes in this formula, but I noticed that they tend to do a lot of iridescent flakes and reflective glitter in clear bases, so the color mostly comes from the glitter. And those seem cool, I do want to try one of those at some point, but I feel like having the tinted jelly base allows for a more vibrant color. So I would love to see them do more in this brighter range like the ones that I have, like a bright orange base with pink flakes and gold reflective, or a warm yellow with orange flakes and green reflective, or a bright blue with pink flakes and purple reflective. I'm sure I would also enjoy this finish in darker or more muted colors, but I have experience with the brights and really enjoy them, so I hope we see more of that, even if I have to piece together a rainbow from different releases. But a full collection would also be amazing. Next, I want to talk about a couple of magnetic polishes, specifically Menchie Cat Eye and Xyler Cat Eye from Holo Taco. These were released alongside Christine's 2023 birthday polish, kind of Holo Taco's second attempt at magnetics, after their first magnetic collection had some batch issues and people overall had a hard time getting the magnetic effect to work. And these ones are a lot better, I haven't heard any major complaints about them. Menchie has a sage green base, darker green shimmer, pale gold magnetic pigment, and scattered holo. And Xyler has a coppery orange base, red orange shimmer, pale copper magnetic pigment, and also scattered holo. Now there are a lot of fun ways to do magnetics, whether that's high contrast, shifty multichromes, or adding other elements like flakes and glitter. I feel like these ones are a bit more on the subtle side, but without being plain or simple. There's contrast, there's different pigments, but nothing too wild. So I feel like these two colors would be a great basis for like a fairy forest collection, something very earthy and whimsical. Another polish that I feel like works well with these colors and that I like to wear with them is Mooncat's Velvet Rose, which is not exactly the same formula, but similar vibes. So there could be a pink in the collection, just maybe a little bit warmer or slightly more vibrant than Velvet Rose. And I know Xyler is kind of in the brown range, but I feel like there could be a darker brown, like if you added kind of a rusty brown background shimmer to Holo Taco's Fairy Tale. There could also be a gold, like with a bronzy shimmer and a lighter gold magnetic pigment. And then maybe like a blackberry inspired polish with a darker purple base shimmer and lighter purple magnetic shimmer, just to balance out the earth tones and give another fairy wing type color. I think that would be such a gorgeous collection, probably my most fleshed out idea of any of these, so you know, if any brands want to use this idea, make sure you credit me. Next, I want to talk about a couple of finishes that Lacquer does, starting with their jelly polishes that include metallic hex glitter. And I have a couple different variations of this. There's Oh Yes There Will Be Blood and a prototype polish, which both have the metallic glitters and also matte black glitters. And then there's What to Do, which has metallic and reflective glitters. Now, Lacquer did release some polishes with metallic glitters in their recent Halloween collection, but those all just had a single glitter color, which was not as fun to me because I like the ones with a little bit more going on. So there's Oh Yes There Will Be Blood, which has the red jelly base, red metallic glitters, and the black glitters. And I think the fact that the glitters are the same color as the base adds a really nice depth and dimension to the jelly. So I would love to see this kind of thing in other rich, vibrant colors, like green glitters in an emerald green base, purple glitters in a royal purple base, etc. This is a finish where I would be happy to see the whole rainbow, and I think that would work really well. But for something with a little more color variety, Then we could have more polishes like this prototype that I have, which has a warm purple base, orange metallic glitters, and the black glitters. So the glitters are a different color than the base, and that opens up a lot of possibilities, whether that's something high contrast like this polish, or something a little bit more subtle like a blue base with purple glitters. There's just a lot of room for creativity, and honestly I don't have a ton of specific ideas for this, but Cadillac does a great job with all of their color combinations, so I'm sure they could come up with some good ones. And then what to do is a little bit different. It has a deep teal base, purple metallic glitter, and green reflective glitter. Just a gorgeous sparkly polish, and another finish where there's a lot of room for creativity and combining different colors, especially because the jelly base can tint the metallic glitters, and the reflective glitters can affect how you see the base color, so there's just a lot going on in a good way. I would enjoy seeing more jewel tones like What to Do, but I could also see this finish being fun with more pruggly colors like an olive green with gold hex glitters and orange reflective glitters, or a brown with red. Lots of possibilities. And I will note, even though I've been focusing on the glitters, one thing I really like about these polishes is the jelly base. Cadillac does a lot of crelly polishes where you get more of that milky or cloudy base, but I like the jelly bases where you can see more layers of the glitter, and it has that really shiny look, but it's also pigmented enough that you get good coverage. So I would love to see more like this. And then the other finish I want to talk about from Cadillac is polishes that feature a crelly or jelly base, an iridescent shimmer, and matte hex glitters. So I've got a couple examples of this. The one I prefer is Lion's Mane from Polish Pickup, which has a red-orange base, orangey gold shimmer, and light blue glitters. And then there's Whatever You Do, Don't Fall Asleep from last year's Halloween collection. I picked it up recently and I haven't actually worn it yet, I've just swatched it, but it has a blue base, purple shimmer, and bright green glitters. And the reason I don't like it quite as much is that it's a little more sheer than I expected, and I prefer the opacity of Lion's Mane. But either way, I think it's actually kind of tricky to do a polish with both shimmer and glitter, because it looks weird if the shimmer covers up the glitter too much. Like when people are talking about ugly polishes, they often bring up OPI's Pineapples Have Peelings Too, which just looks weird and lumpy because it has a shimmery base that's too opaque to show the layers of glitter. Cadillac even has a polish with shimmer and glitter that I don't think works very well, Alien from their Out of This World collection. It's not as bad, but it kind of has that same issue as the OPI. But these two polishes do the glitter shimmer combo right. The two elements aren't competing with each other like in those other polishes I mentioned, so they're both able to do their thing and be visible. Again, this is a finish where I think there's a lot of room for different color combos. I'm pretty sure there's a pink version that was also a Cadillac Polish Pickup shade, but I forget what that one's called. And I like that with the two examples I have, the base and shimmer are kind of similar colors and the glitter contrasts more. So we could have like a yellow base and gold shimmer with magenta glitters, or a teal base with green shimmer and purple glitters, or a blue base with indigo shimmer and red glitter. Lots of possibilities, and again, I trust the maker of Cadillac to come up with better combos than I can. Hopefully this is a finish that they keep playing with. Next up is a finish that I actually only have one example for, and it's a retired Mooncat polish, the Dark Side. This polish has a black jelly base, silver metallic flakes, and small blue holographic glitter. And you might be thinking to yourself, Claire, that's basically a frosted metal. There are other polishes in that finish from Holo Taco. To which I'll say, kind of. I feel like with Holo Taco, most of their frosted metals have slightly bigger flakes that overlap a little bit more, so you don't see the individual flakes quite as much. Like, I don't have Holo Taco's black frosted metal to directly compare on my nails, but based on swatches, I feel like the visual texture is a little different, especially in certain photos, though I will admit it looks pretty similar in others. If anything, the Holo Taco polish that seems more similar to the Dark Side is Silent Library, which is the frosted metal that I feel like most people said didn't look like the rest of the frosted metals. Either way, I would love to have this type of polish in other dark colors, a burgundy, a deep green, a purple, a brown, all with those silver flakes. I don't even usually like silver, but something about this polish makes me want more. Maybe it's the other element in the polish, which are the holographic glitters that aren't just the default silver. They're blue in the Dark Side, and in other polishes they could either coordinate with the base or contrast. And while I'm making requests, I would like to see a higher concentration of those glitters, because they're not super prominent in the existing polish, so it would be nice if there were enough that you could see the color of them even without direct light. I just like when brands use colorful glitters, including colorful holographic, and I think they work well as an accent to the metallic flakes. So I would love to see Mooncat or other brands do more like the Dark Side. Honestly, I haven't been very impressed with Mooncat this year. Not much has made it onto my wish list, We'll see what happens with the collection that they've been teasing, since I don't know much about it as of filming, but if they did something like what I just described, I would maybe consider paying their elevated prices. These next two polishes, I don't know if it actually makes sense to talk about together, but they do both technically have shimmer, iridescent flakes, and hollow. It's just that one is more opaque, and one also has black flakes. The first polish is Topaz Tears from Holo Taco's Birthstone collection. It has a cool brown base, gold to green flakes, bronze shimmer, and gold scattered hollow. It's very opaque, very full coverage, and just has a really nice visual texture with all that stuff packed in there. And then there's the Diabolical Mojo Jojo from Mooncat, which has a medium purple base, greenish iridescent flakes, black flakes, purple shimmer, and scattered hollow. It's also a lot more sheer, definitely a jelly base, and the different elements aren't as packed in there, so just a very different vibe to Topaz Tears, but just as fun. And I think really what I'm saying by showing these is that I like polishes with a lot of stuff in them. I like when brands get creative and put a lot of things together and make something really complex and sparkly and not something you see every day. With the brands that made these, I feel like Holo Taco has made a few more complex polishes this year, like the Magnetics in the Camping collection, but I really want them to look at the success of the Birthstone collection and do more collections with complex and varied finishes. I also feel like Mooncat has gone pretty simple with a lot of their polishes this year. Shimmers, cream thermals, magnetics, and a black base with no additional elements, but they do a good job with more complex polishes, so I want them to do more of that. Give me polishes with a bunch of stuff in them. I don't necessarily have specific ideas for this, but I just want to see some of the creativity we get from indie brands, from the bigger brands too. And then the last polish I want to talk about, it's less about the finish, though I do enjoy that, and more about the color scheme. It's Peace of Mind from Cadillacer, and it's a fairly simple finish, a jelly base with big iridescent flakes, but the reason that I was drawn to it is the purple base and pink and blue flakes, which make it the same colors as the bisexual flag. And so I think it would be really fun if a brand did a collection of flaky polishes based on different pride flags. It could even be an ongoing thing where they add more polishes to the collection every year during Pride Month. I'm sure the brands have done pride flag inspired polishes, but I feel like the default way to do it would be a white base with different colored glitters. And the pro of doing it that way would be that you could have more control over the balance of different colors. Like with the Cadillacer polish, the base color ends up being the most prominent, even though the purple stripe in the flag is the most narrow, but I still think it works as a representation of the flag, and I like that it's a bit more unexpected, since I do tend to see polishes with multiple glitter colors more often than polishes with multiple flake colors. So I would love to see a brand come out with pride flag inspired flaky polishes, and I'll also keep an eye out for brands unintentionally using the color schemes, like with Peace of Mind. So yeah, those are all of the polishes I would like to see in more colors. Of course, feel free to let me know if you know of any existing examples of these finishes. I won't necessarily go out and buy them because I only really shop from the 4 brands I mentioned in this video. If you want to know why, I made a video on the topic, it'll be linked. But I'm still happy to know of polishes that fit into the finish categories that I talked about, and I can at least admire them from afar while I wait and see if I get what I'm hoping for from my 4 brands. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you today. A bit of a shorter one this time, but I think that's helpful for me as I'm getting back into making long-form videos after not having time for a few weeks. Let me know in the comments if there are any polishes that you would like to see a full collection of, whether that's one that I mentioned that you agree with or something totally different. And if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would leave me a like or maybe even subscribe. Thank you to everyone who has already subscribed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!